Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is June 17th, 2024, and Barcelona have received new interest for Ferran Torres. Also, Jose Mourinho wants the signing of Joao Felix, and finally, Barcelona are not ruling out cashing out on the transfer of Marc Guiu. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo and this is the Barca News live podcast, which is on every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where not only do I get to share Barcelona news with you, but I also get to interact with you lovely people in the chat section by reading your comments out loud, answering your questions, and getting that discussion going. For those of you who will be watching when the live stream ends, don't worry, I will be putting timestamps in the description and chapters in the timeline in case you do want to skip through the discussion. Now, having said all that, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment. And if you are looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, including this pretty awesome t-shirt, make sure you hit the gift bag. And if you are looking to place any sports bets, especially now that the Euros are going on and the Copa America is about to start, don't forget to go to Bet Us. Both links for gift bag and Bet Us are down below in the description. Now, let's begin with the news. And as always, when I have lots of bits of news, lots of small bits of news, I like to compile them together. So we're going to start with 3 bits of news, combined all together, starting with, of course, coverage of the Euros, or at least Barcelona players who are currently playing in the Euros. But today, France, one of the favorites to win the Euros, won their debut against Austria 0-1. And Jules Koundé, our own Jules Koundé, started in that match. Not one of his best matches, but again, not one of the best matches of France. I gotta say, it was a little bit of a disappointing debut for France. I don't know what is it with them. They have all these quality players, all these star players, and they just don't seem to find their rhythm or their chemistry. Honestly, to me, they looked like Barcelona, where they were very disorganized, everybody doing their own thing. Sometimes they got some combination going, but overall, not the best performance of France. And they won by an own goal, by the way. Austria scored an own goal. And besides that, they weren't really able to do much. So not a good match for France. We'll see how they progress throughout the competition. But just know that our Jules Koundé, has gotten his first victory in this European tournament. Now, speaking of the Euros, yesterday I told you how Andreas Christensen with Denmark drew against Slovenia 1-1. And I told you about how Christensen was one of the best players on the field for both teams, by the way. He was absolutely impeccable in that defensive role. And well, now we found out that he actually has set a record, because Andreas Christensen completed 89 out of 89 passes. That is a 100% accuracy. Christensen, the guy who we signed for free from Chelsea, the guy who the media told us we had gotten robbed because Madrid had gotten Rudiger and we had gotten, lowly Christensen. The leftover, that's what they were saying. And while Christensen completed 89 out of 89 passes, 100% pass accuracy, nobody in the history of the Euros since 1980, when this competition was established, 44 years, nobody has ever been able to complete a 100% pass accuracy attempting over 76 passes. So Andreas Christensen setting a historical record, completing 89 out of 89 passes. And of course, you're not hearing any of the big media talking about it. Why? Because he's a Barca player. He's not a Real Madrid player. Let's not forget when Germany won and Kroos completed, I think it was like 99% or 98% pass accuracy. Every media outlet was like, oh my God, Kroos, he's amazing. He's a god. Look how good he is. But Andreas Christensen, 100% pass accuracy. No one has ever done that in the history of the Euros. No talks about him. But bravo to Andreas Christensen, who continues to prove that he's one of the best center backs in Europe. And to think there are people who want to sell him to promote Mika Faye, who's a third division player. Some people want us to get rid of one of the best defenders in Europe to replace him with a third division player. Just let that sink in. But anyways, more news. And this is good news because I do like to be the bearer of good news. Because Montjuic is actually looking like it's finally going to be full, or at least somewhat full. Now, as you remember, last summer was a big debacle with Montjuic, where Barcelona were hoping to sell around 25 or 27,000 season tickets. The Socis did not come through. They only bought 17,000 season tickets. And as such, Montjuic was mostly empty for most of the season. And that, of course, caused Barcelona a lot of financial losses. But things are turning around. I reported, I think it was last week, that sales were going much better as anticipated for season tickets. And now it's been reported that Barcelona have been able to sell 50% of all their season tickets. So that is great news. And we're only in June, and the season doesn't start until August. So there's 2 more months. Hopefully Barcelona can sell 100% of the available season tickets, because that would mean more income for the club, something that Barcelona did not have last season, and as such did have a deficit in their budget. And that is why they had to play that, friendly match mid-season before the winter break. They had to do all kinds of things to cover those financial losses from the Socis not buying season tickets. But it looks like this time the Socis are coming through, thank God, because Barcelona need all the money that they could use. All right, that was the first 3 bits of news all combined together. 2 of them really good news. The other one about France, nobody cares. I'm just kidding. I'm sure some people care. But let's do some comment section, some comments, and then we will talk about Jean-Claire Todibo, since we are talking about France. How do you like my French? Just kidding. I can't speak French. All right, Jonathan says, anyone else here? I am. Hello. W. Songa says, having watched Guiu against Cordoba in other matches, better release him on loan. He's not ready for first team. We'll talk about Marc Guiu in a little bit, so I don't want to get ahead of myself. FC Barcelona fan channel says, hello, Mo. Today was a hard day, but Barca and your podcast helped me to cope up. I'm sorry, my friend, that you're going through a bad day. I really hope your day gets better. I'm glad that I can, provide you some kind of relief, but I really wish you the best, and I wish your day gets better, and your whole week and month and year and the rest of your life just gets better and better and better. All right, what else? Let's see. We got Electris from Barbados. What's up, my man? And Praise watching from Togo. Oh, that's pretty cool. I think you're the first person from Togo to, well, I don't know if to watch, but for sure to leave a comment. So thank you, my friend. And my man, Ross, what's up? He says, hi, Mo. Why are we selling Fai and not Lenglet, Garcia, or anyone else? Sorry if you already covered this. Just got here. Thanks, Mo. Like that video, everyone. Lenglet, Barcelona want to sell him. What's the problem? Nobody wants him. Garcia will most likely be either transferred to Girona, or if Girona cannot afford it, then most likely Barcelona will loan him out again to Girona with an option to buy at the end of next season. So those 2 are earmarked for an exit. As far as Mika Fai, it's a combination of 2 things. 1, the club's finances. Barcelona need to offload players. Even if they achieve the 1-to-1 rule, they still can't sign anyone because they need cash to sign players. They need to offload players. What's the best position to offload players from? The center back position. Why? Because we have a crap load of center backs. So that's part of it. The other part, it's his agent. Mika Fai, his agent, wants Mika Fai to get a first-team spot. If he doesn't get a first-team spot, they're looking to go somewhere else. Guess what? Barcelona cannot guarantee Mika Fai a first-team spot. Why? Because we have a crap load of center backs. So since the agent is insisting on a first-team spot, Barcelona cannot guarantee him that. The agent and Deco reached an agreement that if Barcelona receive an offer north of 15 million euros, then Barcelona would sell Mika Fai, but would include a buyback clause where Barcelona would be able to buy Mika Fai the following season, because Deco wants to keep tabs on Mika Fai. Deco wants Mika Fai to stay. And I say that makes absolute sense. I know a lot of people lost their mind yesterday when I reported about that news, but you have to think about it from the club's perspective. The club needs money. Who are they going to sell? Araujo over Fai? Hell no. Christensen over Fai? Another hell no. Jules Koundé over Fai? Hell no. Pau Garcia over Fai? Hell to the hell no. Why would you want to sacrifice first-team players who have proven themselves at the biggest stages for a third division player who has yet to prove himself? This is what I don't understand, why people are losing their mind. And most people are losing their mind. I bet you they've never even seen a Barca Athletic match, but they're acting like we're about to sell Gabi, or that we are about to sell I don't know, Puyol in his heyday or Messi in his heyday. Like, people, calm down. Barcelona need money. They need to offload players. They have a surplus of center backs. It makes sense to sell a third division center back over first division center backs who have all proven themselves to be some of the best center backs in Europe. But anyways, one more comment and then we'll do a little bit more news. Realtor Prayer says, hey Mo, watching from Lagos, Nigeria. I don't miss your podcast. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your comment and for watching the podcast. And let's do more news. Speaking of defenders, since we were just talking about Mika Fai, and speaking of France, since we were talking about the Euros, but we have good news on the front of Jean-Claire Todibo, because Arsenal are heavily Interested in the French defender. It looks like Mikel Arteta has requested that Arsenal prioritize the signing of Todibo. Arteta thinks that Todibo would elevate the level of his defensive backline, and as such, he wants it as a priority. Now, Nice are looking to make some money off Todibo, and it's reported that they want to sell him for at least 50 million euros. That's 50 million euros to Arsenal, or even more. We'll see, but at least 50 million euros. And why do we care? We care because Barcelona own 20% of the rights of Jean-Claire Todibo. So if Nice do end up selling Todibo to Arsenal for 50 million euros, Barcelona would get 10 million euros, which, given the club's finances, it would be an absolute blessing, especially since, again, as I've said a million times, Barcelona need liquidity. Even if we achieve the 1-1 rule with Nike deal, we still can't sign players because we don't have the cash. And getting 10 million for Todibo, that would definitely help. Maybe not to make a huge signing, but it could go towards big signing once you add to it other sales that we can make, including Mika Fai, who reportedly Porto are willing to pay 15 million euros. So right there, you have at least 25 to put towards any signings that Barcelona are looking to sign. Of course, Barcelona are only looking to make 2 signings this summer, someone for the midfield and someone for the left wing. We'll see who will end up being. Of course, a priority for the left wing is Nico Williams, and a priority for the center midfield would be Kimmich, which is not looking like it's going to happen. And in that case, it could be Merino, who could be signed for 25 million euros. So, anyways. All right, more comments. Let's do more comments, and then we will talk about everyone's favorite player, Ferran Torres, the star, the MVP. Just kidding, he sucks. All right, let's do more comments. Like Azet says, hey, Mo, I'm watching from Monrovia, Liberia. All right, my friend, welcome. Africa's always represented in the comment section from all over the continent. Nigeria, Liberia. The other day we had someone from Tanzania. Ghana is always present. Cameroon. I love it. I freaking love it. Let's see. Fibsy says, why not loan for Faye? Because his agent doesn't want to loan. His agent has said, you either give us a first team spot or we're leaving. And that's it. All right, let's see. Alex Tea says, Mo, Spotify will still be with Barcelona next season, and any new on Nike. Yes, Spotify will still be with Barcelona. Spotify signed, if I'm not mistaken, a 5-year deal. I'm pretty sure it was a 5-year deal. And as far as Nike, no news yet. They're still negotiating the final details of the contract. Of course, Barcelona need to finalize that contract before June 30th. If Barcelona do not finalize the Nike contract by June 30th, that means they won't cover the 100 million euro deficit that they have in their budget. And if they don't cover that deficit, forget about signing anyone. We won't even be able to sign a water boy or a ball boy or a towel boy. And I'm pretty sure ball boys work for free. But we wouldn't be able to sign them. And you can kiss goodbye the registration of Gabi, Balde, and Bituroki. So Barcelona have a desperate need to finalize the Nike deal before June 30th. Otherwise, we are effed. Big time effed. Amable says, hi Mo, watching you from Ghana. Oh, I was just saying, Ghana. Barcelona should sell Inigo. There's no plans to sell for Inigo because nobody's going to pay you anything for him. He is 32 years old. He came for free. At most, someone might pay you 5 million. Also, Inigo gives you something that no other defender gives you. Experience, leadership, and solidity in the back line. Inigo is one of the most classical center backs, if you want to put it that way. You know, very physically strong. He goes straight to it, head on. against other players, and he's probably the only defender who's as physical as he is on our back line, plus the defender with most experience. And we've all seen how he has become a leader in that back line. So no plans to sell him. I wouldn't want to sell him, to be honest. I think he gives us something that we don't have in the back line. But anyways, Richard says, things have gone quiet on the cash injection from Nike deal. Any updates? No updates yet. Contract still being negotiated. Let's see what else. Emperor K-Hat says, when it comes to making decisions, we don't use emotions. We need to be rational. Thank you, my friend. 100%. We need to be rational. And the rational thing, like I was talking about Mika Fai, is to sell a third division center back in order to keep our first division center backs who are some of the best in Europe. I don't know what people's obsession is with Mika Fai. They all act like he's, I don't know, Jesus Christ. He's been reincarnated and everybody's like, oh my God. Oh, by the way, hilarious. People used to say, Xavi prefers Spanish players, even though 8 out of the 11 players are not Spanish. Now, yesterday, someone was like, oh, Barcelona prefers German players. Jesus Christ. Next thing you know, they'll be like, Barcelona prefers Chinese players. It's like, if that's the only logical conclusion you can come to, if that's the only reasoning that you are capable of is just tying nationality to any decision, then good luck to you in life. All right, more comments. I mean, more news, not more comments. We just finished more news. But let's talk about everybody's favorite player, the MVP, the GOAT, the greatest of all times, Ferran Torres. I'm kidding, by the way. He sucks. But there's new interest in Ferran Torres, and this time is still from the Premier League, but this time is West Ham. As you know, Newcastle made an offer for Ferran Torres, 15 million fixed plus 5 million euro variables. And as a result of this offer, Ferran Torres yesterday, through his agents, communicated to the club that they are not interested in leaving, that they believe that he's an important player. He's the second highest scorer, and therefore he should stay because he's amazing. And I got to say, I'm glad to see people being confident in themselves and their abilities. But to think you're one of the best players in Barcelona squad, that's no longer confidence. That's crossing into delusion. But anyways, Ferran Torres and his agents think that he's, an amazing player, second highest scorer, and therefore they see no reason why he should leave. And more importantly, they thought that the Newcastle offer was insulting because he had already played in the Premier League at Manchester City, which is the best team in the Premier League currently. Now he's at Barcelona. He's also an international player with Spain in the Euros, and therefore, how dare Newcastle trying to sign me? I'm so much better than them. Again, confidence is good, but sometimes confidence can cross into delusion. Anyways, but now it looks like West Ham are interested in Ferran Torres, and they are interested either to buy him on low cost or, if not possible, on loan. Seems like Lopetegui, if you guys remember Julian Lopetegui, he used to be Real Madrid's coach. He was then Sevilla's coach. Now he's going to be West Ham's coach. But it looks like Lopetegui would like Ferran Torres for West Ham because his main two options fell through. Lopetegui wanted to sign Luis Guilherme in Brazil. That signing fell through because it was too expensive. His second option was Al Nassiri from Sevilla. But of course, Sevilla, they're not looking to get rid of Al Nassiri. So if they do, they're going to want a lot of money. So that signing fell through. And his third option is Ferran Torres. And therefore, it's reported that West Ham have reached out to Ferran Torres' agent to see if they can arrange for a loan or a permanent transfer. Now, my guess that the answer is going to be the same. Ferran Torres, we're not leaving. I'm the greatest ever. I'm greater than Messi. I'm kidding. He's not saying that, but, he thinks he's valuable. So my guess is going to be still no. We'll see if Flick can convince him. Because remember, Flick has not sat down with any players. He has not sat down with players and told them face-to-face, you know what, you suck, you need to leave, or you're staying, you're great. Why? Because obviously all the players are gone. There's nobody left at Barcelona. People are either with their teams in the Euros or with their teams about to start the Copa America. Or if they don't have international duty, they're on vacation somewhere, except for Bito Rocky, who did cut his vacation short to come back and train. So Flick has not sat down with any players and told them they suck and that they need to leave. We'll see if Flick sits down with Ferran and tells them we don't count on you, and we'll see if that will motivate Ferran to leave. Because for now, he swears he's, God's gift to earth or God's gift to football, and he is not looking to leave. All right, more comments, and then we will talk about Joao Felix. the other GOAT. All right, let's see. FC Barcelona fan channel says Manchester United made a bid for Fermin for 30 mil. I haven't heard anything, but either way, there's no interest in selling Fermin. He is untouchable. And AB Zongri Hausa TV says, Mo, your channel is the best channel to give latest news about Barcelona. From Jos, Nigeria. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for your comment. Thank you for watching and for your support. All right, let's see what else. White Vinicius Jr.'s white cousin says, we have 5 CB. We don't need Inigo, even for 1 million. I mean, we don't have to pay for Inigo. He's already our player. Manas Lakra says, hi, Mo, watching from India. Probably line up in next season. Oh, probable lineup in next season. That's tough. I cannot. And I made videos about this. But, you know, everything's up in the air. Flick just arrived. He has yet to meet with any players. Players are still away. But if I were to guess, of course, Ter Stegen in goal. The 4 back line would probably be Koundé on the right back. Araujo and Kouarsi as the 2 starting center backs with Balde on the left back. We know that Flick wants to kind of turn him into the next Alphonso Davies, kind of like a wing back more than the left back. In a triangle in the midfield, I think the bottom 2 would probably be Frankie and Gabi. Maybe Frankie and Gundo at the bottom of that triangle. At the top of the triangle will probably be Pedri. He's our most creative player, kind of like acting like our a number 10. On the wings, we'll probably have Lamine on the right. We'll see if Barcelona can sign Nico. If they can, he'll be on the left. If not, maybe Rafinha. And then obviously in the center forward position will be Lewandowski. All right, Joe says, for some reason, I believe in Ferran. I feel like Hansi will make him different. Look, Ferran failed at Manchester City. He failed the last 2.5 seasons at Barcelona. At some point, you say, okay, it's probably the player. You know, if it's one season, you're like, okay, maybe, it wasn't his, maybe he was having a bad time. Maybe it was the coach. Maybe it was the club. But then when you go from different clubs under different coaches throughout different seasons and you're still failing, then at one point you have to say, okay, it's definitely the player. It's kind of like Joao, right? Joao Felix. We were all like, okay, well, maybe it's El Cholo Simeone. He doesn't know how to use them. Okay, then he goes to Chelsea and he still fails. Okay, maybe it's Chelsea. Then he comes to Barcelona and he also fails. And now he's been through 3 clubs and 4 different coaches, right? Because he had 2 coaches at Chelsea. And he's failed under all of them. So at some point you say, okay, it's definitely not the clubs or the coaches. It's definitely the player. Something's wrong with the player. And the same I feel like Ferran. I don't think Ferran's a bad player. I just don't think he's Barca level, which is different. Because Ferran did great at Valencia. So maybe that's his level. Maybe a mid-table club is his level. And it happens a lot, right? You have players all the time killing it with a mid-table team. And because they're killing it, they get the attention of the big clubs. And then they sign for a big clubs and they completely fail. And they go back to a mid-table team and they continue succeeding. Because, there's levels to this. And not everybody is made to play at the top club. Some players are good enough for a mid-table. Some players are good enough at the bottom of the table. Everybody has their limitations. But anyways, speaking of limitations and players failing at Barcelona, let's talk about Joao Felix. Because it's reported that Jose Mourinho wants the signing of Joao Felix at Fenerbahce. Now, Mourinho will be the coach for Fenerbahce for the upcoming season in the Turkish league. And it's reported that he has requested the signing of Joao Felix. And who shares an agent between Mourinho and Joao Felix? Jorge Mendes, who represents everyone and their mother in the footballing world. But it looks like Mourinho wants to convince Joao Felix to go to Fenerbahce. And not only that, this is important because Mourinho could want any player. It doesn't mean that he's going to get that player. Jorge Mendes also, in conjunction with Mourinho, wants to convince Joao Felix to make a move to the Turkish league. And this is huge because, Felix might hear, okay, some coach wants me, I don't care. But now if that coach and your agent are both telling you, hey, come over here, he might listen. We don't know. Of course, for now, Joao Felix's goal is to stay at Barcelona. Atletico Madrid want to make money off Joao Felix, and Barcelona want a simple loan. Barcelona are okay with keeping Joao Felix as long as it's a simple loan, no loan fee, no option to buy, no obligation to buy. You just give us the player for another season. We cover his salary, nothing else. That's what Barcelona are asking for. If Atletico Madrid want an obligation to buy, an option to buy, a loan fee, Barcelona are going to say, sorry, have a nice life. So Barcelona are only willing to keep Joao Felix if it's a simple loan. Joao Felix wants to stay in Barcelona, but Atletico Madrid are not willing to do a simple loan. They want to make money, whether it be a permanent transfer or whether it be a loan fee if they do loan him out once again. So Fenerbahce might be a good option because, again, Mourinho wants him and Jorge Mendes wants to convince him to make a move. Hopefully this goes through because I don't want Joao Felix on my team again. He's shown us that he's very apathetic. He just doesn't care. He plays for himself, not for his teammates, definitely not for the club. And we don't need a player like that, especially under Flick, who's going to demand 200% out of all his players. All right, more comments, and then we'll do the last bit of news, which is about Marc Guiu. All right, let's see. Aqua says, I wish we are financially stable. We could terminate his contract because I think they're using the advantage that Barca is financially down. Even if we were financially stable, terminating a player's contract is very reckless because you have to pay them the entire remaining of the contract. Ferran Torres has a contract until 2027. So that's 2.5 years of salary that you would have to pay him. Now, I'm not sure exactly how much Ferran makes, but let's say he makes 10 million. He doesn't. I'm just using this number. Let's say he makes 10 million net. That means 20 million gross times 2.5 seasons. We're talking about 50 million euros that Barcelona would have to pay on a salary. And not just that. When you terminate a contract, that player is going to sue you. Guess what? Now you have to pay attorney fees. It's going to be hundreds of thousands of euros. You're going to lose the case 100%. So you're going to end up having to pay Ferran Torres' attorney fees. So that's a few another 100,000 euros. And the court could sanction you. And they could impose penalties on you because you broke a contract. And now you're north of 60, 70 million. That's very reckless. So terminating a contract is not as easy as just like, I want it gone by. Contracts exist for a reason, to protect the player, to protect the club. And that's a good thing because we also wouldn't want to, spend, let's say, 60 million on a signing of a player for him to come and be like, bye, I'm leaving. And now you're like, wait, I just paid all this money for you. So contracts exist to protect the parties involved, and that's a good thing. All right, let's see. Junior says, actually, every time Ferran came in as a sub after his injury, he would score goals. His stats on paper actually aren't bad comparing to the minutes he had. And that's a point I've made a million times in my videos, is stats are not everything in football. I know people like to cling on them, but there's a lot more to football than just simple stats. When you want to truly evaluate if a player or a team is good, you have to look at both a quantitative and a qualitative analysis. Quantitative analysis is stats. That's easy. Player A has more goals than player B, therefore player A is better. That's easy. Anybody can do it. That's what people cling on the most. The other side of the coin, the qualitative analysis, it's a lot more difficult to do because you can't quantify that. Does things like, how good the player is reading the field, how good is his positioning, how good is he reading the play, things like that cannot really quantify. Most people don't know how to do a qualitative analysis. There's a reason why scouts, sporting directors make a lot of money because they can do it the best. So there's a lot more to a player than just the stats. You have to do both sides of the analysis. The problem is most people don't know how to do the qualitative. So they cling onto the quantitative, which is very, very misleading because if you only get half of the picture, you're most likely your conclusion is wrong. You need the full picture. So I don't care so much about what his stats say. Sure, he's the second highest goal scorer on a squad. Does that mean he's the second best player on a squad? Hell no, not even close to it. All right, one more comment and then we'll do the last bit of news. But Deadpool says Ferran out, Sancio from Romania in. I don't know who that is, but if you guys know more about Sancio, let me know and maybe I'll check him out. And Lamine says Ferran should leave for permanent transfer and we bring on Nico Williams. Easier said than done, my friend. The players have to agree to leave. You can't just throw a player out. All right, last bit of news. Marc Guiu. It's reported that Sevilla have eyed the player and are interested in signing Marc Guiu for the upcoming season. Now, Sevilla are going to have to make lots of sales this summer. Why? Because they didn't qualify to any European competitions. And as such, they're going to be short on money next season because European competition is a big source of income for clubs. No European competition means no money. No money means that Sevilla are going to have to somewhat make money somewhere else. And that means they're going to have to sell some of their big players. And as such, they're going to be looking to reinforce themselves with lower profile players. And one of those players is Marc Guiu, who Sevilla have laid their eyes on and are interested in signing him. Now, Barcelona are not interested of getting rid of Marc Guiu forever. They consider him, a player with lots of potential, a player with a bright future. And as such, if Marc Guiu does end up going to Sevilla, most likely it will be on loan. Send him out on loan, let him get first division minutes, grow, develop, then bring him back the following season and see if he can earn a spot on the first team. If push comes to shove and Barcelona need to make money, because again, Barcelona need to make money. Even if they achieve the 1-1 rule, they can't sign players. They need liquidity. They need cash. So if Barcelona find themselves in a place where they absolutely need cash, they're not ruling out selling Marc Guiu to Sevilla. However, doing the same thing as Mika Fai, which is to include a buyback clause. So Barcelona would sell Sevilla, let's say, 15 million euros. You have cash now. In a season, you buy them back, for 16, right? You're only out $1 million, but you recover your player and you have cash at the moment that you need it. So that's the news. Sevilla are interested. We'll see if Barcelona will look to loan him or sell him. But again, if they do sell him, it'd be a buyback clause. Because just like Mika Fai, Barcelona want to keep control of the future of Marc Guiu, who they consider a player for, like a future bet. All right, that's all the news, by the way. But we'll do a lot more comments now since we don't have the pressure of more news. FC Barcelona fan channel says, maybe Ferran Torres is the wrong profession. Maybe Ferran Torres should work in the aquarium where they keep the sharks. Maybe. Richard Darko says, glad to see Mourinho has some humor in him with that request. Imagine going from Barcelona for Fenerbahce. I mean, look, Joao Felix hasn't proved that he's Barca level, so maybe Fenerbahce is his level. Because remember, Joao Felix, we all have this aura of him as this amazing player because he shined at Benfica. And since Benfica, he hasn't done anything. He's been several seasons. So maybe that is his level. I don't know. I mean, he hasn't done anything at Atletico. He hasn't done anything at Chelsea. He hasn't done anything at Barca. All these are top clubs. But he did do a lot at Benfica. So maybe that's his level. I don't know. Maybe he goes to Fenerbahce and kills it and becomes the star of the Turkish league. I don't know. Let's see. What else? White Vinny says, Neville Felix only made differences 3 times in the first match of UCL and against Atletico Madrid. Joao Felix is great against Atletico Madrid. You can count on him. He will score goals. But guess what? There are 38 matches in the season. And you cannot pay 10 or 12 million euros in salary and another 60 million euro in a transfer fee for a player who's going to show up 2 out of the 38 times. That's just ridiculous. Anyways. All right, let's see. Mike Valencia says, wouldn't want Felix or Cancelo either. Mo both have flaws and not Barca quality. Would rather use Hector 4 or Mika 5 for left back and Ansor Nico Williams for left wing. I agree. I wouldn't want either. If I absolutely have to pick one of them or the other, I would prefer Cancelo. But either way, I wouldn't pay money for them. If they want to stay on a simple loan, reduce their salaries, no loan fee, no options or obligations to buy, cool. They can stay, whatever. But I wouldn't pay a single penny for either of them. All right, let's see. Manny says, Felix is too lazy and inconsistent to play for Barca. 100% agree with you. People like to focus on just like the little bits of when a player does great, but they forget one thing. And it's if you're going to be an FC Barcelona player or any of the big club players, Real Madrid, Manchester City, whatever, you have to be consistent 70, 80% of the matches. We're not expecting 100%. That's impossible. No player can give you good matches 100% of the time. Even Messi had bad matches. But you have to be able to be consistent 70, 80% of the time. Not like, oh, remember that one match when he did great? I don't care. How many matches did he do great in total? 2, 3, 4? That's not good enough. In a season with 50 matches, you better show up 40 out of the 50 matches. Don't give me the whole, well, there was 3 matches right there. Not good enough. For that, you can go to a mid-table team. Maybe not even. Maybe a bottom-table team. Because even mid-table teams, their players will give you about a 50% rate of good matches. They'll give you half the matches good and the other half they disappear. If you're going to give me 10, 20%, you need to get out of here. This is FC Barcelona. And as long as we keep lowering the bars to meet the player's output, well, he had 9 goals. Oh, well, he had like 2-3 good matches. That we're never going to be as successful as we used to. Because if you want to be the best, you have to demand the best. You have to demand excellence out of your players. And this whole 2-3 matches good. Oh, 9 goals is amazing. Not good enough. Then we're never going to be the champions that we aspire to be. All right, one last comment, and then we will end this. But W Saga says this Barca's going much crazy, so we have Lewandowski playing the whole 2024 season, 2025 season in all matches. I don't think so. Flick wants to try out Vitor Roque. Barcelona want to sign Pau Victor. So we have options. Not sure what you mean, but anyways. That is all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. You guys are absolute best. Thank you for your comments, likes, subscriptions. Thank you for always supporting the channel. No more news today. There wasn't a lot of news coming out of Camp Barca, maybe because it's the Euros. But that's it for today. No more videos. I will see you in tomorrow's video. And as always, Peace, Barca.